Welcome to another episode of Absolute Talks. I am Jack, and this is Dr. Ken Yost. Dr. Ken Yost has a private practice in Delaware, and he also teaches at Spear. He's here right now. We're having the Dr. Maurice Salama course, and we were talking a little bit about something that happens in our surgical situations quite often. At the end of the surgery, when the patient goes to close, you'll actually hit on the molars of the provisional that's just been delivered. So we've always had kind of a thought behind why this is happening. Our thought process has been, during the course of surgery, the patient's condyles have slipped out of position. And we've always advised that you could send the patient home, and probably by the next day they will have slipped back into position. Dr. Yost, with your extensive training, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on and why and how to resolve it?
Well, we can still only assume what's going on. But one of the biggest things is the pre-planning phase of all this.
Okay.
And what people don't tend to talk about too much is the actual bite registrations that you take pre-operatively, because we're dealing with terminal dentitions here. So at this point, they have maybe postured forward because of interferences. And if you just take a regular bite, when you edentulate these patients, they've lost their posterior contacts, and next thing you know, you have an anterior open bite.
Okay.
So when they go during the surgery, you won't know this until after the surgery is done. So what happens then is all of a sudden you close down and you're hitting second molars. A lot of this could be because most people are class 2s. They don't even know it. They could be a pseudo class 2. And once you lose that posterior contact, you go into a fully condylar seated position. And we used to call it CR. Now it's a fully seated condylar position, as long as there's no TMJ issues. The other thing with the pre-planning is we should be taking our CBCTs up into the joints.
Okay.
And looking at the joints ahead of the planning sessions, because we want to know not only with the CBCT, but maybe sometimes with an MRI if there's symptoms, where is the disc, where is the condyle, because you can sort of predict what's going to happen.
Okay.
So if you do that, and if people are familiar with the leaf gauge when they're setting up their cases, you can actually find out if there's an MIP or an RC slip. And you can get a feeling for what might happen during the surgery. Now, some people will posture forward. But I have found that most people that posture forward, once you remove the posterior interferences, they can never find that forward position again.
Okay. So
then you end up with an anterior open bite.
Well, that's very interesting, and that was a lot of information, Dr. Yost. Thank you for joining us in another episode of Absolute Talks. You can find Dr. Yost at his website,
KennethYostDMD.com.
and check out Spear. Thank you so much.